Dealing with the optical scan ballots that voters are voting on, that when the polls were not open, or I'm sorry, not so much that the polls not open, but when the electronic voting units were not set up on time for the 6:30 opening, and when voters were casting their ballots on optical scan, there's been some questions as to what the poll workers should do when the voter brings back that optical scan ballot. What they've been instructed is to place that optical scan ballot into the provisional envelope, mark on the front of the envelope regular voter. That way it provides some form of security to the voter. So that's what we have done in those types of situations. Those ballots are not considered provisional ballots. They're considered part of regular ballots and will be processed as such. Those ballots, any optical scan ballots, will be processed during the official canvass. The other...
If you place the optical scan ballot in a provisional envelope and you mark it regular, shouldn't those ballots be counted tonight as a part of the unofficial?
Dealing as far as our procedures goes, we were planning on any optical scan ballots being cast would be processed during the official count.
Because most of those are provisional ballots.
But
These are only
these are not provisional. These are not provisional ballots.
No, I agree, but we don't count the absentee ballots.
Our sole focus is going to be the memory parts for tonight.
But I think, following up on Mr. Coach's question, how many of these do we have any idea how many of these there are?
We do not know at this time how many of those optical scan ballots that were cast as regular voters that there are.
You have the list of polling locations that you read off.
And we can get a number. I mean, we'll be able to call there was only a few of those that we needed to call to get a number of how many ballots that were cast. So we'll try to provide you by the end of the night. The other item also, there was a question as to, some concern as to whether it be a provisional ballot or whether it be a regular vote, or the multiple pages to a ballot. And again, the poll workers were instructed to tear out as many pages there are that makes up one ballot. And there have been calls that we have received where a person may have received only the candidate page as opposed to the issues page. So we're looking into that and making sure that if there are any questions that we properly instruct the voter again, that they are to provide the full ballot that may be multiple pages. There was a call in that dealt with power failure citywide in Brook Park. That I'm going to defer to Gwen to determine whether, in fact, that has occurred, but that was a phone call, whether it was in case that's something that we're monitoring. Let me just talk a little bit about the phone calls we've had. At the time, I would say approximately 12 o'clock, we had 5,288 phone calls coming into the agency. And we answered 4,913, and I would say that the majority of those came off of that went into the IVR system. And the average speed of pickup was essentially 47 seconds.
These calls are not the calls that went into the IVR.
Oh, okay.
Went into the ACB.
Okay.
So there were other additional calls that went into the IVR.
So we were able to handle a lot, the majority of those phone calls. Gwen, do you have the information about Brook Park power failure?
Actually, I don't know by the chance to call CBI.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, Michael, there's no way of monitoring how long the manual calls to get through. I know you could do it with the automated system, but
Actually, we have a report of that. Gwen, do you have that?
The time it took to answer a call was an average 47 seconds. The average time they were on the phone with the person was 2 minutes and 41 seconds.
and again, this is not the automated system.
No, this is us taking calls. And we had 375 calls total abandoned. And this is not just, this is poll workers, CBS, and the election day technician, all 3 phone lines. So out of that, it was like 7% that got to abandon the call before
ID requirements? Are there problems?
Substantial improvement.
You know what, actually, there wasn't, during that entire time frame from 5 o'clock, I would say till 12 o'clock that I was down there, I had not received any phone calls. I personally had not seen any paperwork that dealt with the voter identification issues. Now, just to say that I know that I have talked with interested organizations, one in particular, where there have been isolated incidents where poll workers are not providing the proper, they're not properly conducting the voter identification procedures properly. And so we've contacted those individuals in the specific cases that we were aware of. But for the most part, I don't believe staff has heard too much about the voter identification. Gwen, do you have any?
I see no
Jane,
comments on
have
voter
you?
identification.
Have you?
There have been questions about voter identification as well as provisional balloting, particularly Norm. There was a question about a person moving out of the precinct into the precinct. There were a couple of those questions. Our phone bank is being manned by the trainers that were hired by Tri-C and trained with the poll worker curriculum. Those calls, particularly the reason that Michael probably didn't see those yellow sheets is because they're not being put on yellow sheets because they're being handled by the poll worker trainers at the point of the phone call. But they have come in with questions. Nothing significant in terms of no one is, I have not heard of any instance where somebody's being turned away. There are questions like, this gentleman brought in an old passport and it's expired, does that work? Oh, but he has a current utility bill, forget it, look, you know. Those are kind of the clarification questions that are coming up.
I think.
But they definitely are coming in.
Jane,